My name is Rachel Ann Mercer. I'm 36 years old, and today was supposed to be my little sister's perfect wedding day at an exclusive estate outside Sonoma, California. I turned my old 2011 Toyota Corolla onto the long private drive, windows down, letting the warm October breeze brush across my face one last breath before I slipped back out of their world again. I arrived almost an hour early on purpose. I told myself I just wanted to see the venue, maybe glance at the setup, then leave quietly. No drama, no confrontation. That was the plan until I saw it. A massive banner at least 6 feet tall hung from the stone archway at the entrance. My driver's license photo blown up so huge it felt like a punch to the chest. And beneath it, in thick red letters that looked like they were bleeding, "Trash not allowed. Do not let this person in." My mother stood beside it, arms crossed, chatting with the coordinator as if it were nothing more than a centerpiece. My father checked his watch, deliberately ignoring the humiliation plastered across the gate. And there was my sister, Lila, gliding across the lawn in her custom designer gown, veil floating behind her. The second she spotted me, her smile sharpened. "What are you doing here?" she muttered, low and venomous. "Seriously, Rachel, you smell like your night shift. Don't let the Porter family see you in that bargain bin dress." My mother swooped in, her manicured nails digging into my arm. "Honey, go! Don't ruin this day." My father didn't even bother to face me, just flicked his hand in dismissal. I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I simply took a photo of the banner and texted 2 words to Maya. "Do it." 28 minutes later, all 370 guests stood locked outside the estate, watching hundreds of thousands of dollars evaporate. And they had no idea what was coming next. I had just turned 26 when I walked across the stage at the University of Washington's Foster School of Business with my MBA. 3 days later, a recruiter from Seattle called, with an offer I couldn't even pretend to hesitate over: Chief Financial Officer for a rapidly expanding Pacific Northwest restaurant group with 20 locations stretching from Tacoma to Bellingham. Starting salary, $260,000 a year, plus equity that could be worth millions if the company went public. I signed the contract that same week. My parents practically levitated with pride. My dad, Mark Mercer, a senior vice president at a commercial development firm in downtown Seattle, told everyone at his golf club that his eldest daughter was running the finances for one of the most promising hospitality brands in Washington. My mother, Evelyn, printed out the company's press release and framed it for the living room. They even hosted a celebration at their home in Queen Anne, just to parade me around. Leela was 19, then a freshman at Shoreline Community College, still undecided about her major. She posted nonstop pictures of us. Me in my new navy blazer, her leaning over my shoulder with the caption, "My superhero CFO sister." I bought her a 1-bedroom apartment 10 minutes from campus so she wouldn't have to commute. I covered her tuition every semester. When she wanted a spring break trip to Maui with friends, I paid for the flights and the resort. My parents came 2 first-class tickets on me. Hawaii became an annual tradition. I met Evan Brooks at a charity fundraiser for children's hospitals. He was 30, a software engineer at a major tech company, quiet, tall, and thoughtful. 14 months later, we were married on the 18th green of a private golf course overlooking Puget Sound. The wedding cost nearly $200,000, most of it paid from my bonus. Lila served as my maid of honor. Even then, the imbalance was obvious if you knew where to look. They dug through my company's expenses and twisted every business trip, client dinner, and holiday gift I'd ever logged into unauthorized personal spending. Within days, the board placed me on unpaid leave while an internal investigation unfolded. There were hints of possible criminal charges, nothing formal, just enough to terrify me into silence. My job, my equity, my entire professional identity were suddenly on the line. When the lawyers presented a settlement, walk away with $12,000, surrender all rights to my Seattle condo, my 401, my stock options, everything, I took it. If I fought, they would drag the process out for years, and my reputation would be dead long before any verdict. I signed the paperwork in a glass-walled conference room downtown, stepped into the hallway, and didn't look back. I moved into a cramped 400 square foot studio in South Seattle, where I could hear the upstairs neighbors arguing in 3 different languages. I applied everywhere: startups, banks, grocery chains. But the moment anyone saw the employment gap or searched my name, the interviews evaporated. Eventually, I took a night shift supervisor job at a big box retailer. The pay wasn't good, but the background check didn't care about allegations that never became charges. The day I started training, I called my parents. My mother answered. I told her I needed a little help just until my first paycheck. A long pause stretched between us. "Rachel," she finally said, voice tight and apologetic, "you have to understand. People talk. Your father's up for a major promotion. We can't be associated with this right now." My dad chimed in on the extension. "You made your choices. Now you live with them." That week, Leela scrubbed every trace of me from her Instagram, our Hawaii trips, graduation photos, even my wedding. Then she blocked me. 6 months later, her name flashed on my phone for the first time in nearly 2 years, crying, desperate, breathless. "Rach, I need you. Please don't hang up." He proposed on a private yacht sailing past Bainbridge Island, dropping to one knee with a 3-carat oval diamond that probably cost more than my current annual income. Lila said yes before he even finished the question. They wanted the wedding at Ridgeview Estate, the most exclusive vineyard outside Sonoma. The kind celebrities book years in advance. The kind that requires a $75,000 non-refundable deposit just to secure the date. Caleb's parents agreed to cover half, but Lila didn't have enough for the rest. She had already signed the letter of intent. Her voice trembled through the phone. "I know I've been awful, Rachel. I know I disappeared, but you're the only person I trust with something this big. If I lose this date, I lose everything. Please help me one last time. I swear I'll pay you back double after the wedding." She kept me on the phone for nearly 3 hours, rambling through tears about her custom gown from a private atelier in Los Angeles, the string quartet flying in from Vienna, floral installations nearing $40,000. She sent endless screenshots: rolling vineyards, stone barrel rooms, a ceremony lawn straight out of a fairy tale. Every time I tried to respond, she cried harder. That same week, a thick envelope arrived from an estate attorney in Bellevue. My grandmother, Nana Ruth, had passed away 6 months earlier, a fact no one had bothered to tell me. Inside the envelope was a handwritten letter and a trust notice. Years ago, she'd created an irrevocable trust, naming me alone as the beneficiary. $180,000, released either on my 30th birthday or upon her death. My parents and Leela were specifically excluded. Nana's note was simple: "You're the only one money never changed. Use this wisely." 4 days later, the funds cleared, and I knew exactly what I was going to do. I slid the thick stack of papers across the coffee shop table. Maya read the cancellation clause, Section 17B, slowly, her brows lifting higher with each line. "The signing party reserves the unconditional right to terminate this agreement prior to the event's start, subject to forfeiture of all payments made unless termination is due to a documented breach of dignity or harassment, in which case forfeiture is reduced to 30%. Her eyes widened. "Rachel, this is insane. You're basically handing them a loaded weapon with your name engraved on it." I just shrugged. She skimmed the remaining pages, then looked up sharply. "Give me the originals and every addendum. I'm keeping copies in my office safe just in case." I snapped a photo of the signature page and texted it to Lila. "It's done. Date is locked. Congratulations." She replied instantly with a single red heart emoji. Nothing more. No thank you. No excited call. No invitation to see the dress or meet vendors. Just silence. I tried to convince myself it was normal. Weddings that size swallow your entire life. She'd reach out soon. But she didn't. The silence stretched from weeks into months. She changed her number the day after the wire transfer cleared. My text to the wedding planner, a relentlessly upbeat woman named Madison, who used 3 exclamation marks in every email, came back with the same line. "Lila says everything is under control." Still, I kept trying. I offered to help pick the band, the menu, the signature cocktails. I offered to fly down for cake tasting. Every message disappeared into a void. Then one Thursday night during my break, I opened Instagram. My mother had posted a story from a designer bridal boutique in downtown Seattle, 4 champagne glasses raised. My perfect little family celebrating the most beautiful bride. 4 people, not 5. The next morning, I called her. She sighed. Sweetie, the Porters care about optics. Given your situation, the job loss, the divorce, it's better if you sit this one out. For Lila's sake. He's don't tell. Expenses flee. Expenses can't tell. I remember gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. So I'm not invited, I said. It wasn't a question. It's not that we don't love you, my mother rushed out. It's just complicated. I hung up before she finished. That night, Maya showed up at my studio with 2 bottles of Silver Oak Cabernet from 2016, one of the last good vintages before the fires. We drank both on my tiny balcony, while the freeway roared 30 feet below. Then, she told me something I hadn't known. A year earlier, right after my divorce settlement hit public records, my mother had hosted a garden party for her country club friends. Maya was there because her firm sponsored the event. While refilling her glass in the kitchen, she overheard my mother laughing by the pool. "Thank God we still have Lila," she'd said loudly. "Rachel turned out to be such a disappointment." Can you imagine explaining Walmart to the Porters? Maya had stood there, pretending not to hear a word. She pulled a flash drive from her purse that night. "Every page of the venue contract," she said. "Original scans, addendums, wire confirmations, all backed up in my office safe. If you ever decide to pull the plug, you won't be doing it blind." I told her I wasn't there yet. Blood was still blood. Maybe Lila would come around once the stress eased. Maya didn't argue. She just poured the last of the wine. 3 weeks later, the official invitation arrived. Thick cream cardstock, gold foil border, calligraphy perfect enough to frame. Mr. and Mrs. Mark Mercer request the honor of your presence at the marriage of their daughter, Lila Ann Mercer, to Caleb Porter. Their daughter, singular, no mention of me. Not even in the wedding website photos, every childhood picture stopped right when I started paying for everything. I waited for a call or apology that never came, and September 21st crept closer. I showered and pulled on the only black dress I owned that still fit simple, knee-length, nothing that drew attention. I left my jewelry box closed. No rings, no necklace. I looked like someone headed to a funeral, which felt fitting. By 5:30, I was on I-5 North, then Highway 505, cutting across to Highway 12. The drive took a little over 2 hours. Near Fairfield, I rolled the windows down so the smell of vineyards and dry oak could settle over me one last time. I reached the private turnoff for Ridgeview Estate at 9:15, almost an hour before guests would arrive. My plan was simple. Park far away, walk up the ridge overlooking the ceremony lawn, take one quiet look, then slip out unseen. But the moment I rounded the final bend, everything changed. A massive white banner hung from the stone archway, my Washington driver's license photo blown up larger than life. Beneath it, in thick red block letters, "Trash not allowed. Do not let this person in." The planner's assistant tugged at zip ties like it was ordinary decor. My mother stood nearby, sipping iced coffee, scrolling her phone. My father checked his Rolex as if nothing were amiss. On the lawn, Lila posed in her gown, laughing while the photographer positioned Caleb behind her. I stepped from my car. Lila's smile froze, then sharpened. She handed her bouquet to a bridesmaid and walked toward me, train dragging. "What are you doing here?" she hissed. "Please don't tell me you're parking that ancient Corolla where the Porters can see it." My mother appeared at my elbow, nails digging into my wrist. "Rachel, go home, you'll ruin the pictures." I looked at the banner, the sun turning the letters the color of fresh blood. Something inside me went silent. I lifted my phone, took a single photo, and called Maya. "They hung a banner with my face," I said. "Are you sure?" she asked. "Once I send this, the gates lock." "I'm sure." "Do it," I said. "Drive," Maya replied. I hung up, slipped my phone into my purse, and walked to my car without looking back. I didn't run or cry. I simply started the engine and pulled away, while Leela's laughter floated behind me like an echo I would never hear again. 15 minutes later, I pulled into a Shell station off Highway 12, the closest place with coffee and a clear view of the hills. I bought a large dark roast, climbed onto the hood of my car, and stared at the photo of the banner on my screen. That's when the tears finally came. Hot, fast, silent. Not sadness, but release. Like the last trace of something toxic leaving my body. My phone buzzed. Maya. Email sent. Official cancellation under Section 17B. Dignity violation documented. Management confirmed. Gates locking in 20. Get distance. I wiped my face, took a slow sip, and felt a sharp smile form. 13 minutes later, Maya called. It's done. Gates are locked. The general manager just ordered a full evacuation, 30 minutes to clear the property. I pulled onto the shoulder, heart thudding. I still had the old family group chat, the one no one remembered to remove me from. I opened it. My mother's messages were already flooding in. Rachel, what did you do? Open the gates. There are 370 guests outside. This isn't funny. Answer me. Your sister is melting down. More messages piled up. Then my father's voice note. Fix this, now. I didn't reply. A notification popped up from Sarah Kim, my college roommate who somehow landed on the guest list. She was live on Instagram. I tapped it. The camera shook as designer heels crunched across gravel. Men in tailored suits fanned themselves. Women clutched empty champagne flutes. Security stood guard at the chained gates. A vineyard employee lifted a bullhorn. Ladies and gentlemen, the contract has been terminated. Please vacate immediately. The crowd gasped as Sarah panned left to my parents sprinting across the lawn, my mother's heels sinking, my father's tie whipping in the wind. Lila was right behind my parents' veil ripped off, mascara streaking as she screamed at Madison, the wedding planner, who looked like she wished the earth would swallow her whole. I turned up the volume on Sarah's livestream. Lila's voice cracked through the chaos. Offer them whatever they want, 100,200, tell them the porters will write the check right now. That's V8 me. Madison only shook her head, phone pressed to her ear as she repeated the same line. The contract is terminated. The signing party invoked the dignity clause with photographic evidence. There is no negotiation. Meanwhile, Maya was dealing with another front entirely. The previous weekend, Leela and her bridal party had done a final bachelorette blowout in downtown Seattle. They stayed at the Sapphire, a boutique hotel. Caleb's best man, Ryan, his childhood friend, had gotten far too drunk and far too familiar. One of Maya's paralegals, Mia, happened to be at the same bar. She despised Lila ever since college, when Lila stole her boyfriend and spread rumors that got Mia kicked out of her sorority. So when Mia saw Leela and Ryan stumbling into an elevator, shopping bags swinging, Ryan's hand already sliding under the hem of her dress, she recorded it. 37 seconds. Crystal clear. Date stamped. Maya kept it like a loaded weapon. And as soon as the vineyard loudspeaker finished its third evacuation warning, she sent the video straight to Caleb with the subject line, "Before you say, I do." I was still parked on the shoulder when Sarah's live stream shifted toward the ceremony lawn. Caleb stood between two massive floral arches, frozen. His phone buzzed once. He looked down. His face went from confused to ashen in seconds. No yelling, no theatrics. He simply walked to the microphone, tapped it twice, and said, voice like ice, "This wedding is over." Lila spun around, babbling excuses. Caleb lifted his phone so everyone and every camera could see. Gasps erupted. Someone screamed. Lila lunged. He stepped back. "I'm not marrying a liar," he said. He dropped the mic, turned, and walked straight out of his own wedding. My phone lit up again, messages firing nonstop. "Rachel, please, we're going to lose everything. Your sister is on the ground. Fix this. I'm begging you." I stared until the screen went dark, then placed the phone face down and merged back onto Highway 12. It buzzed against the seat like an angry hornet. An unknown Sonoma number called. I ignored it. 30 seconds later, it rang again. This time I answered on speaker. My mother's voice exploded through the car. "Rachel, thank God. Put me on with the manager. Tell them it's a mistake, we'll pay whatever they want. It's going this snow." Behind her came chaos, crying, shouting, the metallic clang of locked gates. Someone yelled about ride shares surging to $400. "Evelyn," I said quietly, "it's not a mistake." Silence. Then frantic whispering. The audio switched to speaker on their end. Caleb's voice cut through everything. "This wedding is over. I'm not marrying someone who slept with my best man a week ago." Lila screamed in the background. "It was one time. It didn't mean anything. Also, it's not a gallery." Then the unmistakable clatter of a diamond ring hitting stone. "Give me that phone!" she shrieked. "She's lying. That video is fake." Caleb stayed steady. "I watched it 3 times. Timestamp. Last Saturday. You were still wearing the bride sash." Gasps rippled. Phones lifted. Influencers live-streamed the meltdown. My mother came back on, sobbing. "Rachel, baby, please, open the gates. I'm literally on my knees. The manager won't even look at me." Then, Leela grabbed the phone. "You psychotic bitch, you ruined my life." I waited for her to run out of breath, then calmly said, "Now you know what trash tastes like." I ended the call. The phone rang again, my parents, the planner, cousins. I blocked each one until nothing remained but the wind rushing through my open windows. For the first time in years, I could breathe. I drove south on Highway 29, past vineyards glowing gold in the September light, past weekend tasting rooms full of people pretending life was perfect. I didn't stop until I reached the Carquinez Bridge. At the Vista Point, overlooking the bay, I leaned against my hood and opened my banking app. $32,000 remained from Nana Ruth's trust, enough to vanish for a while. Then another notification appeared. A payment request from Lila for $72,000 labeled, "You owe me for emotional damage." I laughed until my eyes watered, declined it, and deleted the app. My phone finally fell silent. As the sun burned off the last chill, a realization washed over me. I was free. No more waiting for apologies. No more hoping the people who discarded me would want me back. They made their choice when they hung that banner. Now I made mine. I got into my car and headed toward the coast. Highway 1 stretched ahead, wide open. As I merged, one final text slipped through. "Rachel, we're so sorry. Please come home." I read it once, powered off my phone, tossed it into the glove box, and drove. The road felt like forgiveness I no longer needed. 6 months later, I lived under a different sky. Seattle greeted me with drizzle and salt air. Maya connected me with a recruiter at Amazon, and after 3 interviews, I became a fulfillment center, operations manager, 95,000 base, plus bonuses and stock. I rented a 12th floor studio in Belltown with windows facing Elliott Bay. On clear mornings, ferries carved bright wakes toward Bainbridge Island. I bought real furniture. I hung one framed photo me and Nana Ruth at graduation, laughing like we shared a secret. The estate kept 70% of my payment. The Porters demanded gifts back. Caleb sued for the ring. And the Mercer's perfect world cracked exactly the way they'd cracked me. Washington law is straightforward. An engagement ring is a conditional gift. If a wedding is called off because of the recipient's actions, the ring goes back. Leela fought it for 3 months, until a judge threatened contempt. She surrendered the 3-carat oval diamond that afternoon, then posted a tear-streaked selfie with the caption, "Some people only know how to destroy." The comments were vicious. By November, my parents had listed their Queen Anne house. Between the mortgage, the second lien they'd taken out for Lila's wedding expenses, and the credit card debt from deposits, they were underwater. The house sold at a loss. They moved into a spare bedroom at my Aunt Linda's place in Tacoma, 3 hours and a lifetime away from the country club world they once flaunted. I heard most of this secondhand. Mutual acquaintances forwarded screenshots. A few sent private messages. "Your sister looks rough. Your mom aged 10 years overnight." I read them, then archived every conversation. One rainy Sunday in March, a text slipped through from a number I hadn't blocked. "Rachel, we have nothing left. The house is gone. Your father's blood pressure is out of control. Lila can't get a job interview. Please, we're your family." I stood at my kitchen counter, coffee cooling in my hand, and stared at the message. Outside, rain streaked the 12th floor windows. A container ship glided across Elliott Bay, steady and unbothered. I typed nothing. I pressed block. Then I walked to the window, rested my forehead against the glass, and watched Seattle move without me. I wasn't trash anymore. I was the one who walked away, paid my bills, slept through the night, and woke to a view most people only see on postcards. I saved myself. The phone stayed silent. No more begging. No more guilt disguised as concern. Maya came over that night with champagne, celebrating becoming the youngest partner in her firm. "You did it," she said, tapping her glass against mine. "You really did." I looked out at the water. Something settled inside me, solid and finally mine. "I did," I said. And for the first time in my life, I believed it. If you've stayed with me through this journey, tell me in the comments what part of my story hit you the hardest. And if you believe I finally did the right thing by choosing myself, let me know. Your support means more than you think. I learned the hard way that sometimes the bravest choice is walking away from people who refuse to value you. Don't wait for permission to protect your own peace. If someone hangs a metaphorical trash sign over your life, tear it down by choosing yourself. Share your thoughts below.